Hello folks and welcome back to my channel. In this video I will show you why I think that the F-86 Sabre is an excellent module to get you started in DCS world. To do so we will fly a multi-role mission together. So see you in a bit. Before we get comfortable in the cockpit of our F-86, I will quickly go through the briefing of this mission. The mission itself is called First Jet Strike Fighter. You can find it from the Missions tab in your DCS World main menu once you have installed the F-86 Sabre module. So the task will be a ground attack. We will be a flight of 4 F-86. About the situation, it tells us something here again that the F-86 is considered to be the first true jet strike fighter. What exactly that means and why it is special I will go through in detail while we are flying to our target waypoints. It says us here that in the missions we have to destroy 2 APCs at waypoint 3, then we have to head to the harbor at Poti, destroy a submarine that is in the harbor there with bombs, and if we are lucky on our route we will encounter some MiGs that we should shoot down. Yeah, here we can see our threats, 2 times BTR-80s, those are the APCs that we have to destroy. Maybe two MiG-15s, this here SSK is the submarine we will have to destroy. And it seems like some of the positions are covered with AAA, the ZU-23. Now before we start, I just want to say that this is not really a tutorial. I will not go through the startup process and so on. I just want you to know how capable this little machine is and why it is such a good option to get started if you don't really have any idea how full fidelity aircraft in DCS world work. So let's start her up. Our start airfield will be Batumi here. You can see it. I will quickly show you where we are and where can we expect our targets to be. We will take off towards the ocean. We will head north approximately to the direction of the Kobuleti airfield. Farther to the north there should be our 2 APCs that we will have to destroy. Then we will head here to the harbor of Poti, destroy our submarine. If the submarine is destroyed, we will fly the route back down here to Batumi, and somewhere on the way maybe we encounter some MiG-15s. We are now here on the ramp. We are given an armament of 8 unguided rockets. This HVAR, very early unguided rockets that are not in any kind of pods. As you can see here, they are mounted directly to the wings. We are also given 2 500-pound M64 general purpose bombs here. And of course our 6 20mm guns, 12.7mm guns of course. They are full with ammo. For this mission I always prefer changing the 500-pound bombs to the 750-pound bombs, because against a large target like a submarine they will just do more damage. Now as you can see, the ground crew is changing our armament. Additionally, I also put 2 very early version air-to-air missiles. Here this AIM-9B, I think it is. So these are very early versions of the IR guided sidewinders. With the F-86 being developed in the late 1940s and being used in the Korean War in the early 1950s. Note that this kind of air-to-air missile, these guided missiles, they were in a very early stage of development. So mostly I just take them out for fun, and sometimes if you are lucky and you shoot 2 of them at your target and it doesn't maneuver too much, you actually might hit something with those. So let's see if we get lucky and we find some mix, maybe we can shoot one down with those. Okay, we are rearmed, we got our takeoff clearance. Let's get going. Now, talking a little bit more about why I think that you should get started with the F-86. Apart from the fact that it is really a charm to fly it, it is so much fun. It has all the controls are very direct. You don't have any kind of computers or flight controls or anything like that, because, well, something like that just didn't exist when this aircraft was built. But still, you cannot really say that it is a warbird, because it has some advanced features. For example, the targeting computer for your guns. It is, as I figured during using or flying the F-86, the lead computer for the guns is really not very effective, and mostly you would use it against targets that are not maneuvering very much. You see, also when you look around here, you have basic radios. Nothing is too complicated. You don't have any digital gauges or anything like that. There is not a huge amount of buttons and controls that you have to learn in order to manage to fly this module. All of your upfront controls here, they are analog. The weapons panel here is analog. You will have a great time figuring out what all of these do and say. So let's see if we can get her off the ground safely. And we have a takeoff, wheels up, flaps up. Note that this is a subsonic jet fighter. It doesn't have any kind of afterburner, so when you are carrying a heavy load, like we do here with 2 heavy bombs, 8 missiles and 2 air-to-air missiles and a full tank and full ammo for our guns, you are quite heavy, and because you lack an afterburner, you need quite a long runway to get in the air. In the distance we can see our wingman also joining our formation. I turned my gun sight on. You can see the reticle there. On the weapons panel I have it configured for rockets first. As I said, this is not a tutorial. I will maybe make 2 separate tutorials on how to deploy especially the general purpose bombs and the missiles with this aircraft, because it can be rather challenging. You don't have anything like a targeting computer. No any kind of correction. Nothing is really ground stabilized. The F-86, it does have a very simple kind of radar in it that you can also use to engage ground targets. But and you will hear this probably a few more times from me, the most important thing with any kind of dumb weapons like rockets and bombs: get close and get personal. There is nothing more important than that. Everything that you are firing from too far away will probably not hit the target. So let's see how far away our targets are on the F10 map here. We are here. If we use our ruler tool to get to our targets, it's approximately 22 nautical miles and a course of 12 degrees, so almost north of us. As it said in the mission briefing, our ground targets will be marked with green and red smoke to make it easier for us to find them. If you are new, like I was once, you probably want to turn the labels on, because finding any kind of targets in DCS world without them being marked with smoke or knowing the exact position of them, especially ground targets, can be very difficult. It's a little bit easier in VR. I was actually flying this mission in VR, but back to the labels. If you really have a hard time finding any kind of targets, you might just, as I will show you here, turn on your labels. You see here we are now actually flying over an enemy airfield. We have two MiGs down there. Maybe we will encounter those later. And you can also in the distance see the labels of our wingmen. But since I'm already used to mostly flying without the labels on, I will also deactivate them now again. Yeah, I really like the look of this module. This shiny aluminium. Everything is so retro. It is really a charm to fly. Okay, somewhere down there we should soon be able to see our targets. I already when I did the aileron roll, I already saw the green smoke. We were still a bit far away from there. Our gun sight is still caged at this very moment. On our left side, actually, if we look there, we can see the harbor with the submarine. But let's now focus on our APCs. Yep, down there they are. Uncage our sight. Correct our course a bit, that we are lined up with our targets. They should be exactly where the green smoke is. Excuse me. And rockets away. Hits on target. Great, it seems like we got our two APCs with our rockets. I think I actually fired all of them. If we look at the back here, we have our rocket counter. It says 10. Yep, but definitely fired all of them. In the meantime, while I gain speed and gain altitude again, on my weapons panel I will change it to the bombs, as you can see here. Make sure that in this approach we will do a manual release. I will actually only drop one bomb at a time, so if I miss with the first one, I could still come around and try it with the second one. This is really how you prefer it. As I already said, with dumb weapons, the most important point is get close and get personal. So I really prefer always having the bombs fuse on the, it's difficult to see here, on the tail only setting, which basically means that the bomb has a small short fuse delay once it hits the ground. So it's safe for us to get away and not destroy our own aircraft with our bomb blast. I also put here the sight correction to the bomb option. In the game, it automatically brings our seat position in the cockpit a little bit up. It's actually a very interesting feature of the Sabre. I have no idea if it's also like this in real life. Maybe some of you actually know that. It is in order to, if you do bombing in very steep dive angles, it is much easier to see the bomb sight if the seat position is adjusted a little bit up. Let's see what our wingmen are up to. We didn't need them so far. Maybe later on I will command them to engage the air defenses around our submarine, so that the air defenses are occupied with our wingmen, and I can do a relaxed bomb run on our submarine in the harbor. I will first make a flyby of the harbor to gain a little bit more situational awareness. If you're flying at this altitude, approximately 15,000 feet, the AAA can't hit us up there, and we can just look down and see where our target actually is and how to fly the best approach. As I quickly mentioned already, there are a few different options in the F-86 Sabre how to deliver unguided bombs. You have here on your weapons panel, you can choose between auto release and manual release. As I said already, I prefer the manual release because in my opinion, maybe there are people who think different. In my opinion, the automatic release releases the bombs at a way too high altitude, and I'm always having a very hard time hitting anything if it releases the bombs at the altitude of 2000 to 2500 feet. It is simply too high. Yeah, then we also have like this fancy looking thing here. It is basically a little bit something like an analog bombing computer. You can turn the pages and so on, set a release altitude, a release speed and so on. It is very difficult to use. I tried it a few times. It actually works, but it doesn't really help you anything if you want to engage some targets of opportunity where you don't really know at what altitude they actually are at. So I don't really like using that. And you also have the lapse here, which is basically a toss bombing method. It is very much fun, but it was originally developed to drop small nuclear bombs at the beginning of the Cold War. It's impossible to hit anything very precisely with normal dump bombs and the lapse method because of the very nature of it. So in this mission here, I will only use the manual bomb release, and at some point, if you're interested, I will maybe do F-86 dump bomb bombing tutorial where I share my thoughts on what I think is the best method of dropping bombs with the F-86, because yeah, there are many different videos about this on YouTube, many different tutorials I watched, I tried, I think I did many thousands attempts of delivering bombs. At some point I just figured the perfect method for myself, and as you will also see here now, the most important point: get close, get personal, and use the F-86 like a World War II dive bomber. So we are not clear of all the air defenses yet. Doesn't really matter, they won't hit us at that speed probably. The submarine is directly where the red smoke is. Bombs away. Yeah, we actually hit the very front of the kilo. Perfect. We destroyed the submarine with only one bomb. Cool. And now I have one bomb left that makes the aircraft heavy on the right wing. As you can see, we don't really need it anymore. I think I will just jettison it. As we are heading back to Batumi, I want to make sure that our Sabre is in the right air-to-air configuration. For that, I want to make sure that all of our guns on the left side panel here are turned on to the all guns position, and also that our gun sight correction here is back from the bomb position to the gun position. Also in the middle here we have the wingspan adjustment for our gun sight. I put it to the lowest setting here that it almost matches the wingspan of MiG-15 that we will probably encounter soon. So far we didn't really need our wingmen. At this point I will still tell them to rejoin formation, so if they spot any enemy aircraft they will automatically also engage them. Down there in the distance we can see again our enemy airfield that we flew over before. I don't know if you can see them, but I see at the end of the runway these two small dark dots. These are probably our enemy MiGs about to take off. I will at this point turn the labels back on so it's easier for you to see something. Yeah, there we can see them now. They are just about to take off. Note in a mission like this, obviously we don't have any kind of AWACS support or other kind of search radar, so we will have to rely on our eyes to identify our targets. Since the MiGs are just taking off and we are higher and faster than them, we are in a great position that gives us an advantage over them. Let's see if we can use it and maybe see some great results here. Okay, there goes the first MiG, and right there we have the second one. Try to get behind it. Watch our speed. We don't want to exceed our maximum speed since the F-86 is a very fast diver. Unfortunately this time we overshot the MiG. Try to get behind it again. There he is maneuvering way too much for our air-to-air missiles. I will try to get him with guns. With guns it's the same as with bombs and rockets. Most important thing, get as close as possible, otherwise you will be very inaccurate with your shots. I hit it a few times now. Wasn't enough to bring him down. I don't know what my wingman is up to. I will command him at this time also to engage the bandits. Sometimes the behaving of the DCS World AI is a little bit unpredictable. There is a MiG right in front of us. It's not maneuvering very much. We could give it a try with our air-to-air missiles. I couldn't get a Sidewinder lock at this time. Now I do, but I think he's maneuvering way too much for those, so I will stick with the guns for now. Yeah, unfortunately the MiG-15 can outclimb the Sabre, which is an advantage for them. Apart from that, both aircraft are actually quite similar in their capabilities. The second MiG is actually right behind us, which is not very good. Maybe I can outturn him. It's actually the other one here. Yeah, he started turning right when I fired the Sidewinder. I hit him a few times. I think he got damaged. He's now trading some smoke. Probably going down sooner or later. Yep, there he goes. One MiG left. See if we can find him. Oh, that guy is far away. If you look at our fuel, we still have plenty of it. He's actually fighting there with my wingman. Catch up to them. And maybe we give our second Sidewinder a go. For that I would have to get behind him, since these early sidewinders, they can only track targets from behind. Oh, there he's again maneuvering way too much. My wingman is shooting at him. Fox 2. Ah, we actually hit him. Great. Both bandits down. At this point I will tell my wingman to rejoin the formation. And we can head back to Batumi. Now at this point I could also use my radio, the Sabre's radio compass to find back to Batumi, but we will do a visual approach. I remember, of course, where Batumi is, so we don't really need it here. Just for you as an information, when you get the Sabre, the only navigation system you have is a radio compass. You use it with this panel here on the right side. It's basically that you turn in or you tune in to a radio station, and the index of the radio compass here will point directly towards that radio station. It's also called an NDB, non-directional beacon approach, which is a bit tricky to use because tuning into a radio station with this here can be difficult, since you don't have digital gauges where you can fill in the frequency directly. You have to turn this knob here, and yeah, it just it can be difficult. But as I said, at this point we don't really need it. I contacted our ATC, told them that we are inbound. And basically all we have to do is a safe landing. That's everything left. So you saw now that with the Sabre, which many in the DCS world community consider to be as very limited, of course, in the armament and everything, I would say now we engaged different kinds of targets with different kinds of weapon systems. We used rockets, bombs, our guns, and also air-to-air missiles. It is definitely a multi-role fighter. It's lots of fun. And yeah, what I also want to mention, when you get the Sabre and you are wondering what content is available there for it, there are actually two great campaigns for you to download from the DCS World website. One is called Hunters Over the Yalu. The Yalu River was a river, or is a river, in Korea, where large parts of the Korean War were fought, and this campaign, this Hunters Over the Yalu, puts you into a realistic military combat environment. I think it contains something like 20 missions for the Sabre with all kinds of tasks. You will have air-to-air, air-to-ground, multi-role. And then there will be a second campaign. It's called the Museum Relic. Now that campaign is not entirely realistic. It puts the Sabre into a modern combat environment. It's the story of the campaign goes somewhat that the Sabre is in the possession of a private person who wants to use it to fight for his country in some kind of border dispute. Now that one is not very realistic, but it is also greatly done and scripted, and it contains some very cool missions. So the Sabre actually comes with hours and hours of single player gameplay. If you want to use it in multiplayer, every once in a while you can also see those on the Enigma's Cold War servers, obviously. Oh, there's our wingman back, great. I lost the other two wingmen somewhere. I have no idea what happened to them. As I said already, the DCS World AI sometimes behaves in very weird ways. I don't know if they got shot down by AAA or they were just flying somewhere else. But in a mission like this, as I said, we don't really need the wingmen. They are just a nice addition. Most of the work we can do ourselves. So lower the flaps a bit. Reduce speed by the help of our air brakes. The warning sound you can hear is just the idle position warning light. We can now lower our landing gear. We don't have any kind of drag chute. I will just use the wheel brakes to slow down. And we are back from where we started. And we put the Sabre down safely. Now that was a successful mission. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. Maybe you got the taste. And once again, I can really recommend this module. It is very much fun to fly. It is more than capable of performing different kinds of tasks, and the perfect choice to get into full fidelity DCS world. So thank you guys for watching, and see you next time.